It's me again for another preview, and this time it's a long weekend preview from the Friday the 1st of April. It's not April Fools, these events do exist on Friday, through to the 3rd of April 2022. I'll start by saying that does anyone else out there feel like I do, which is that there's a reasonably sized event going on. Some decent runners will be operating and taking part, but you just don't know much more detail. You don't know what the names of the runners are, what they're aiming at, what selection criteria might be, what time the event starts, is there any live coverage, etc. You have to do a bit of delving around, and I'm finding this quite useful for myself, so hopefully it helps one or two of you. Because on Sunday is the event I'm going to just focus on a little bit, which is the Manchester Marathon, which starts on Sunday just after 9 o'clock. The wheelchairs go off at 9 o'clock and the elites go off at about 5 minutes later. And this is the trial. I've been referring to it as the Commonwealth Games trial for England, but it's also the European Championship trial for Britain, GB. And there's quite a lot of detail here, which I found I felt I should have known, to be honest. Let's go through it. First of all, nominations for the Commonwealth Games selection have to be in by the 6th of April, a few days later. So this is the last opportunity, and it is a trial. There's a first place automatic qualifying position for the Commonwealth Games, providing that person has the standard both in the men and the women. If that person, so say somebody wins who already has the qualifying time or gets it, declines selection, it can be offered to the next person, and so on and so on. They can also add to the England Commonwealth Games team if they feel somebody's got a serious medal chance. That's in the selection procedure. And there's another meeting after there's the 6th of April one, and then there's another selection meeting on the 13th of June to add people to the team. But the last day really is, for performance-wise, is Sunday, the 3rd of April, i.e. the Manchester Marathon. And as I say, if somebody's injured or ill, they can be considered, if they are an outstanding, is the word, medal prospect. The standards are, for the Commonwealth Games, this is the England team, 2:14 for the men and 2:34 for the women. Come on, that's slightly different from the Europeans. We still don't know what the maximum size team will be for the Commonwealth Games England athletics team. I can't see that it's published. So, if you're going beyond one or two athletes, you're then looking about comparisons to athletes in other events, which complicates it somewhat. Not easy when you're a marathon runner. The qualification period started at the beginning of January 2021, last year. And I'll come on to that in a minute, and who actually has qualifying times. And bear in mind, apart from the Commonwealth Games and the European Championships this year, there's World Championships in Oregon. And already selected for that are Chris Thompson and Josh Griffiths for the men, and Jess Piasecki, Charlotte Purdue and Rose Harvey for the women. Then we have the European Championships. Are you keeping up with this? Qualifying times, which are 2:14:30 for the men, so 30 seconds slower than the Commonwealth, but perversely 2:32 dead for the women, 2 minutes quicker than the Commonwealth. And those times have to be essentially achieved between January, although it's January the 27th, 2021, and again 3rd of April, this Sunday for the Manchester Marathon. That's the qualifying period. In the case of the European Championships at Manchester Marathon, the first two eligible, i.e. with the qualifying times, will be selected, and it can again be offered to the next ones down. But you can't double up with the World or Commonwealth Games. And there's various other bits of criteria built into the selection policy, but they're some of the essentials. Now, what struck me when I looked at the list, I was quite surprised how few of those with the qualifying time are running the Manchester Marathon. If you take those that have achieved on the men's side, there's 7 achieved the times, 2:14, 2:14:30 last year, which were Chris Thompson, Jake Smith, Ben Connor, Mohammed Adan, Phil Sessamon, Josh Griffiths and Dowie Griffiths. Chris Thompson and Josh Griffiths have got their selection for the World Champs. And then 2002, Josh Griffiths again has run the time. And you've got Luke Cordwell, Mo Adan and Andrew Davis, who's the one person caught in between the 2 qualifying times because he's run 2:14:20. And of that lot, I don't think any are on the entry list for the Manchester Marathon. So they're backing themselves to get offered a European or Commonwealth Games, well, presumably they are, if they want to do one of the major championships, get offered an invitation to be part of the team. Intriguing for me, but anyway, perhaps I don't know much. On the women's side, those that got the time last year, sub 2:32, were Charlotte Purdue, Steph Davis, Rose Harvey. Purdue and Harvey are in the World Champs team. Natasha Cochran, Clara Davis and Rosie Edwards. And then on top of those, Rebecca Gentry and Samantha Harrison have gone inside 2:34 for the Commonwealth Games standard. And then in 2022, Jess Piasecki and Rose Harvey have got the times, but they've already gone to the World Champs. And then you've got Alice Wright in the mix, who's achieved time as well. So the only one of all the men and women with the qualifying time already in the qualifying period is Rosie Edwards. What do you make of that? So if she wins the trial, she will go. And presumably the trial winners might do actually faster than the qualifying times anyway. Now, if you look at the elite list, I don't know if you can see this, but it is available on the Manchester Marathon website. I know it's not totally up to date because I know 1 or 2 are not doing it. But there's some interesting, there's some Irish guys in it as well, like Kevin Seward. He's entered one of the quickest on the men's side. Johnny Miller's down for it. And I expect quite a few people will be rooting for Johnny Miller to knock out a performance and qualify, having not made the Olympics last year. But there's others like Ross Millington, his teammate at New Balance, who's making his debut. You've got Callan Johnson, former national cross-country champion, and Andy Coley-Maud's running, or down for it. Paula Surafel, and plenty of others making a debut on the elite men's list. I'm just going to check further down. Yeah, there are a few of the names. Some really good club runners. So, but somebody might pop a qualifying time. You know, there's people like Frank Baddick perhaps on the up. Matt Close and others that could well run the 2:14 or 2:14:30. And then on the women's side, Rosie Edwards, as I say, is the only one doing it with qualifying time. She hasn't got the quickest PB. That goes to Sonia Samuels, who's doing it. And then you've got the likes of Naomi Mitchell, Philly Bowden, who's quite new to the marathon, giving it a go, and a whole host of others that are doing it. So there is an elite list you can get for the Manchester Marathon that's worth looking at. There's a tracking system which I haven't tracked down myself, but I will probably look at it live on the live stream, which is on YouTube. And say the race starts soon after 9 o'clock on Sunday morning, with an elite wave going after the wheelchairs. It says on the website for other start lists, we'll be posting a start list on our event website in the lead up to the event. Well, it's now Tuesday before the Sunday, and I couldn't find it, but there you go. But the elite list is available. There is a live stream on YouTube, Manchester Marathon. Look it up. You can follow the race on there, which is good stuff. And I think when you got trials and there's a guaranteed places involved, as I say, was it, first one wants to accept on the Commonwealth, first two on the Europeans. That makes it interesting, doesn't it? So apart from the Manchester Marathon, in the UK, loads of spring open meetings, athletics, track and field open meetings going on. If you look on Power 10, quite a few of those happening this weekend. Just hope the weather's reasonable for people. It's going to get a bit cooler. But over in the States, there's the Stanford Invite, Friday and Saturday, being shown on Flow Track if you've got a subscription and you're willing to stay up middle of the night. That's on then. And then on Runner's Space, there's the Hayward Premier at Oregon, which probably will feature a few top class athletes there. Just looking through the Stanford races, much of the action is that we would be interested in from a distance point of view is on the Friday night over there. Unless, as I say, you're willing to get up like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, you might be just about able to catch 6 o'clock UK time, the 10,000 metres, where on the entry list, as far as the Brits are concerned, on the women's side is Charlotte Arter and Beth Kidger. Although Charlotte Arter's also entered alongside Jenny Nesbitt for the 5,000 metres, so not the seeded races aren't showing yet on the Stanford Invitational website, but the entries are. So I'm sure over the next day or two, the race list will start to appear. And then there seems to be a whole host of Brits, some of which are based out there and some have gone out there to race. A little party from Cambridge University, 800 metres, Angus Harrington, Jeremy Dempsey, 1500 racing. Then you've got the likes of, in the 1500, James Hennigan from Cardiff, Chris Ollie from Tunbridge is down for it. Then you've got 5,000, Isaac Akers, Freddie Carcass, George Duggan, Rory Leonard, all down for it. 10,000, Scott Beattie and Matt Leach. I suspect you could pick out a fair few others from the various lists. But clearly Charlotte Arter, Jenny Nesbitt, Beth Kidger going for some fast times in the women's distance races out at Stanford this weekend, if all's been well. Again, apologies if my knowledge isn't up to date, and they're hopefully they're all fit and healthy. I say lots of other open meetings and things going on this weekend, but the big one, as far as the UK is concerned, is the Manchester Marathon on Sunday morning. So at least that's helped me doing the research. Whether it's helped anyone else, I don't know, but hopefully I've filled in a few of the gaps and maybe prompt a few to do a little bit of checking out athletes that they follow. I hope that helps. Cheerio.